Bellator London is next weekend. Next weekend's a stacked weekend for fights. We've got Loba versus Malignaggi. We've got UFC on ESPN Plus 12. And we've got Bellator London. I might be most interested in the Loba Malignaggi and Bellator London fights. I don't give a fuck about UFC this weekend, I'll be honest. But we're going to run through Bellator London, start to finish, giving our quick fire predictions. Starting with Alfie Davis versus Jorge Canelo. No one gives a fuck. Moving on. Denise Kielholtz versus Bryony Tyrell. No one gives a fuck. Justin Bolson versus Wendell Lewis. No one gives a fuck. Nathan Rose versus Luke Ord. No one gives a fuck. Kate Jackson versus Lena Ovinwin. No one gives a fuck. Terry Brazier versus Alessandro Botti. No one gives a fuck. Walter Gazada. Very promising guy. Okay, and I'm glad we got to this. Because he's 18-3. That's a phenomenal record. And a lot of people are going to say, oh, against who? Against who? Against anyone, going 18-3 is fucking impressive. Okay, it's amazingly impressive. And he's facing off against a guy, Oliver Enkamp, who's been in the UFC before. Lost his fights, 7-2, got cut by the UFC. And now he's at Bellator. He's a guy, he's a talent. He's a talented guy. He got knocked out by Danny Glass Chin Roberts in his last UFC appearance. They got rid of him. Either way, phenomenal talent. This is a good fight. It's actually a really good welterweight prelim fight for the Bellator card. Then you've got Galfor Porfando versus Keith McCabe. No one gives a fuck. Nathan Grayson versus Franz Malambo. No one gives a fuck. Kevin Fryer versus John Redmond. John Redmond's 7-13. No one gives a shit about that fucking shit. Chris Bungard versus Chari Leary. No one cares. Alfie Davis versus Jorge Canelo. No one cares. I think I already read that one. But either way, we're moving on to the main card. Let's get into the interesting ones. Let me break them down for you. Starting with Aaron Chalmers versus Fred Freeman. Aaron Chalmers coming off the Geordie score. You on that bloody tin, man. You know what I mean? Coming off the Geordie shore. People thought he was a joke. People thought he was a joke from Newcastle. He's shown that he's not a joke. He was winning his last fight until he gassed out and tried a little walk-off KO, which didn't work out for him, and the guy ended up recovering and catching him in a leg lock. You know, rough time, but he is a savage, and he's taken on a guy who's 1-1, which I don't mind, because Aaron Chalmers is not a seasoned guy. He's 4-1, and look, they're giving him another layup. I understand. I really do understand. I think he's going to get a knockout in the first round, with ease. With ease, I think he's going to get a knockout in the first round over Fred Freeman. Moving on. We've got Charlie Ward versus Justin Moore. I don't really care about this one. Moving on. Fabian Edwards versus Jonathan Basuku. Jonathan Basuku is a physical specimen. He's a dangerous guy. He's 7-4. Fabian Edwards, Leon Edwards' brother from Birmingham. He's a dangerous guy. Okay? A dangerous guy. He last got his win on by an upkick KO, which is crazy. Really crazy. But he's a prospect to look out for. 7-0. Got a talented team around him, clearly, because Leon Edwards is taking on a top 3 guy in the welterweight division coming up soon. So, Fabian Edwards, if he keeps winning, he's a guy to watch out for, man. He is a guy to watch out for. He's finishing guys. He's looking impressive. 7-0. He's got a talented team around him. He's got a brother who's a big welterweight in the UFC, so he's got a perfect training partner. Fabian Edwards, watch out for him. I think he's going to get the finish in the second round by submission. I think he's going to knock the guy down in the second round and then finish him on the floor with the submission. Michael Shipman versus Costello Van Steenis. I'm going to go with Costello Van Steenis. He's got a scar on his cheek. I like it. You know what I'm saying? It shows he's been through a lot. And that's entirely what I'm judging this fight off of. I'm joking. I'm going with Michael Shipman, 13-1. He's a talented guy. He's been making waves in the UK. Costello Van Steenis, he's also been making waves, but I feel like Michael Shipman's been doing it against a bit more seasoned guys. And I think he's going to get the job done. I think he's going to get the job done. 13-1, soon to be 14-1. Another middleweight feature fight. I think he gets the job done in the third round. Finishes it late. Melvin Manhoef versus Kent Koppinen. Melvin Manhoef still doing the damn thing. Jesus Christ. Melvin Manhoef still doing it. 30-14. That's almost a bad record as Paul Daley, which we'll get onto in a second. It might be better than Paul Daley's record, if I'm honest with you. I'm going to go with Melvin Manhoef. You just can't argue with that power that he has. I think he's going to get the finish over Kent Koppinen, who's 11-4. I really do. This is actually like a massive UK showcase card, if I'm honest with you guys. UK and Ireland showcase card, which I'm a fan of. I'm a real fan of, other than the main event. I do think you have to be very promising to beat a guy like Melvin Manhoef. He's just a veteran. You know what I'm saying? And when you're a veteran, you can't be a hit and miss kind of guy trying to challenge him. You know what I'm saying? You have to be the real fucking deal. You have to be looked at as like the next big thing. Because veterans, although people think, oh, they're past their prime, they're this, they're that, they're still savages. You know, you don't end up losing that much in your career, just everyone else catches up. And I don't think that Kent Koppinen has caught up as much as to beat Melvin Manhoef. I think Melvin Manhoef's going to get the finish in the first round. Light heavyweight. Good fight at light heavyweight, boys. James Gallagher versus Jeremiah Labiano. God, for once it's hard to... Like, a lot of people like to glorify the opponent of James Gallagher because they want him to win and they want him to knock out James Gallagher and embarrass him. But this guy is just so unlikable as well. Jeremiah Labiano, 12-6. It's a good opponent. It's a good opponent with a lot of experience. However, I think James Gallagher's going to get this one done immediately. I don't know why people hate on James Gallagher. It's because he's successful and he lets people know about it. And people don't like hearing about success because it reminds them of how unsuccessful their own lives are, which tends to be 80% of the population. If you know who, like, if you react negatively to that comment, you're exactly who I'm talking about. And James Gallagher, yeah. People say he sounds and copies Conor McGregor. Oh, he sounds like Conor McGregor. Maybe it's because he's from the same place. Maybe it's because he says the same accent. How about that? Why does he sound so much like Conor? I don't know. Maybe because he's from the same fucking place. I've never understood that whatsoever. Jesus Christ. James Gallagher's going to get a win. I think he's going to get it. He's going to go in there. It's going to be a 2-minute long fight. I think he's going to drag Jeremiah Labiano to the cage. He's going to take his back when Jeremiah Labiano tries to escape the fence. And James Gallagher's going to sink in the hooks, do what he does best, and get a rear naked choke in the first 2 minutes. That's what's going to happen. Stop hating on him. He's 8-1. He's going to be 9-1. And hey, this guy's a potential superstar. He's young as well. So, keep a lookout for him. Paul Daley versus Erick Silva. This is a good one, boys. I actually like this co-main event. Paul Daley coming off a, in my opinion, win over Michael Venom Page, even though they gave it to MVP. I don't mind the decision. It could have gone either way, in my opinion. I see it for MVP. I see it for Paul Daley. They gave it to MVP. Paul Daley seemed to think it was a robbery, but let's face it, both guys lost that fight because it was absolutely fucking shit. And Erick Silva still doing the damn thing. I do think that Paul Daley's going to knock him out in the first round. I've seen Erick Silva knocked out too many times. Erick Silva 20-10. USADA came along. Erick Silva went away. One more Brazilian bites the dust to USADA, boys. God. I just can't ignore the facts. Like, Erick Silva's been knocked out a few times. USADA came along, he went away. Paul Daley's still been out here doing the damn thing, start to finish, still looks in impressive shape, as he always has. I think he's going to get a knockout in the first round. I think Erick Silva's going to commit. He's going to overcommit with some shots, and Paul Daley's going to find a counter, big shot, and finish him. Paul Daley by knockout in the first round. Gegard Mousasi versus Rafael Lovato Jr. People seem to think that this is a walkover job for Gegard Mousasi. Let me tell you this. Mousasi's a big middleweight. Okay? Rafael Lovato Jr. is a big old middleweight. He's Luke Rockhold's size. You know what I'm saying? He's a dangerous guy on the ground. He's a very dangerous, formidable opponent. He's 9-0. And at higher weight classes, I said this before, it doesn't matter who the matches are against sometimes. Going undefeated and having a great record, it just goes to show, especially at the higher weight classes. At the lower weight classes, skill will get you by. But at the higher weight classes, there's so much risk to losing off of mistakes. And the fact that you can go undefeated at a higher weight class really shows that you're something to be reckoned with. And I think that Gegard Mousasi is going to get this job done because Rafael Lovato Jr. is good on the ground. I don't know, man. Let me do some final research here live on the video. I just don't see any way he's going to beat Gegard Mousasi. In my opinion, Gegard Mousasi is one of the best guys there is. Lovato Jr. good on the ground. 6 submission wins, as I thought. He's just... If you want to get Gegard Mousasi to the ground, you're going to have to just out-grapple and destroy Gegard Mousasi. That's a big fucking ask, okay? And I think right now, Gegard Mousasi knows if he wants to make the most money he can in his life, he needs to keep the belt. There's big fights on the horizon between him and Lyoto Machida. He knows what's on the line. He's going to come in here focused, dedicated. I think he's going to mop the floor of Rafael Lovato Jr. I think he's going to keep it standard and find the knockout in the 3rd round. Yeah. I think there's going to be some grappling done in the 1st and 2nd. Mousasi's going to come out on top. Rafael Lovato Jr. is going to be a bit tired from all the grappling. Gegard's going to show what kind of veteran he is. And he's going to start piecing up Lovato on the feet, finding the KO finish in the 3rd round. Gegard Mousasi gets the win, and it sets up a fight between him and Lyoto Machida. There is a great fight, a really great fight, and you can do him versus Lyoto Machida on the same card as Roy McDonald versus Douglas Lima. Done. That's a great card. No more questions. You know what I'm saying? End of year card. Gegard Mousasi versus Lyoto Machida. And Roy McDonald versus Douglas Lima. And then all of the prospects on the undercard. Done. Greatness. Gegard Mousasi is so underrated, man. 45-6. That is such a good fucking record. Such a good record. And that is constantly against the best of the best. Like, that's UFC experience. That's fucking glory. I'm fucking confused right now. That's pride experience. You know what I'm saying? He's an absolute savage. And he's going to get the job done. I think he could beat anyone at middleweight right now. Given his time and his night, I do think Whittaker would beat him 6 or 7 times out of 10. But on his night, he can beat anyone in that division handily and destroy them. You know what I'm saying? He already beat Weidman, however you feel about that. He was fucking up Weidman. Beat Weidman. Beat Uriah Hall, who's still a top 10 guy in the UFC. Beat fucking... I can't remember the name of anyone else right now. But there are other people that he's beaten. Gegard Mousasi's a savage, and he's going to show you how much of a savage he is and reclaim his title to set up the fight between him and Lyoto Machida. Done. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Bye.